Welcome to the City of Bakersfield Planning Commission meeting. This television broadcast is made available through cooperation with the local cable companies, the County of Kern, and the City of Bakersfield. The Planning Commission meets on the first and third Thursdays of each month. You can watch the rebroadcast of this meeting Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 10 a.m. The planning meeting agenda is posted on the city's website at www.bakersfieldcity.us. Presiding over today's meeting, Barbara Lomas.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to call to order the June 2nd, 2016 Planning Commission meeting. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Commissioner Lomas.
Here.
Commissioner Rudnick.
Here.
Commissioner Schwartz. Commissioner Strong.
Here.
Commissioner Tack.
Present.
Commissioner Wade.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a pretty short meeting tonight, so we'll just move it along. We're on to agenda item number 3, which is public statements. We will now receive public statements. This is the time reserved for anyone wishing to address the commission on any matter not on the consent calendar public hearing portion of this agenda. If you are here on items 5A through 5D, this is not the time to speak. Does anyone in the audience wish to address the commission on a matter not on the consent calendar public hearing portion of the agenda? If so, please come forward and state your name. Seeing no one, we will move on to item number 4, consent calendar non-public hearing. Does any commissioner wish to remove a consent calendar non-public hearing item for separate consideration? Nope. Excuse me. May I have a motion to adopt staff's recommendation on the non-public hearing item?
Motion.
There we got it, Dana. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. This is a roll call vote.
Commissioner Lomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Rudnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Strong.
Aye.
Commissioner Tack.
Yes.
Commissioner Wade.
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Moving on to agenda item number 5, consent calendar public hearings. The purpose of this section is to vote on all of the consent calendar public hearing items in one motion without further comment, unless an item is removed by the commission or someone in the audience that wishes to speak on that item. If anyone wishes to speak on a consent calendar public hearing item, the item must be removed from this portion of the agenda. Any item removed will be heard in that order. At this time, I will open all of the consent calendar public hearing items. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on a consent calendar public hearing item? See no one? What? Here we go. Thank you, sir. Could you come to the microphone? Which item is it that you would like to speak of?
Item C.
Could you state your name, please, sir?
Beg your pardon?
Could you state your name, please?
Jack Stewart.
Jack Stewart, and we will remove item C.
Okay.
We'll come right back to you.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Does any commissioner wish to remove? Commissioner Tack.
Not that I want to remove, I just want to, agenda item 5A, please reflect that as a abstain from voting. There's a possible business, well, there is a business relationship there, so my vote on the rest of the items will count. There will be an abstained vote for 5A.
5A.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Strong.
And then I will abstain from consent calendar item 4A. There's I think I have a small conflict, so.
Thank you. Do we need any special language, Counselor?
Just have the record reflect that Commissioner Strong's vote on 4A does not count. He abstained for a conflict.
Back up a little bit. Now we'll move forward, and we'll want to reflect Commissioner Tack on this vote. correct?
That is.
Okay, thank you. At this time, the public hearing items on all of the consent calendar public hearing items except 5A are now closed. May I get a motion to adopt staff's recommendation for 5C, excuse me. We have an abstention on 5A. I'm with it. I thought I was going home early, okay? We would like to pull 5C. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. It's a roll call vote.
Commissioner Lomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Rudnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Strong,
Aye.
Commissioner Tack,
Yes.
Commissioner Wade,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to item 6, public hearings. It is now time. 5C? Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Well, now we're turning it into a public hearing, though. All right?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
We are now holding a public hearing for 5C.
That's correct.
Thank you. So we will bring that language into play right now. Thank you. It's now time to hear the removed consent calendar public hearing item. Before we begin, I want to explain how the hearing will be conducted. Staff will first give a report, and then those in favor of the project will be allowed to speak. Those in opposition to the project will be able to speak after all those in favor have spoken. Each side will be given a 5-minute rebuttal period. The commissioners may ask questions to those who have spoken to seek clarification. You may also ask questions during your statement, but the questions will not be answered until the public hearing on that item is closed. If you have written comments that are longer than your verbal statement, you may give them to the clerk, who will provide copies to the commission. Again, please be courteous to others who wish to speak and do not repeat the remarks of previous speakers. So we will now hear 5C. Ms. Kitchen, do you have a staff report?
I do. Good evening, Commissioners. Item 5C is a request by Audrey Mills on behalf of the property owner, Oxygen Development LLC, to do a general plan amendment and zone change on the property shown here. This is a parcel of land that is located on the north side of Bernard Street, west of Oswell and south of 178, adjacent to the East Hills Mall, as you can see here on this aerial photograph. And the purpose of the request is to change the designation of the site from multifamily designation to a commercial designation in order to allow for the construction of a 37,000 square foot, 59-bed skilled nursing facility. The reason that the zone change is needed is because these types of facilities do require commercial designation. So the applicant came to staff and requested that designation, and also voluntarily requested the inclusion of the PCD zone district to ensure that this would be developed with the nursing facility as they have proposed. And that PCD district map would show that the development looks like this, is shown here, and that is included in the staff report packet. It's a standard layout for a nursing skilled facility. Staff hasn't noted anything unusual with this request. Staff did prepare a mitigated negative declaration, found that there wouldn't be any significant environmental impacts, and is recommending approval, and the applicant has agreed to all conditions as proposed.
Thank you. The public hearing on this item is now open. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the project?
Good evening. My name is Audrey Mills, and I am here on behalf of the property owner. And I just want to thank everybody for moving this project forward. And we've had a great working relationship with the city. And Jacqueline went over it very well with what we're proposing. It's a 59-bed skilled nursing facility that will be approved by OSHPD. And it will stay 59 beds, and we will be building it, and the owners will also be operating it. So the owner's representative is also here, and she will come up in a moment. But we're here with the architect also, so if there's any other questions that we can answer, we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor of the project, please come to the microphone.
Hello, I'm Nancy Wilson. I'm VP of Research and Development with Plum Healthcare, which is the subsidiary of the Oxygen LLC, and the owner and the operator. We have 64 skilled nursing facilities, 54 in California, and we take a lot of pride in a special philosophy that we have in how we treat our patients. We have excellent results. I have reached out to the CEOs in the surrounding Bakersfield hospitals. I've had two opportunities to speak to Leader McCarthy regarding growth in Bakersfield, enhancing some beds, and also Senator Fuller. The most important thing in a meeting that I had with Michelle Oxford, who is CEO at Bakersfield Heart Hospital this morning, is that their length of stay on patients that are in the acute facility has increased significantly as a result of not having enough beds in Bakersfield to actually discharge their patients. In addition to that, many of the facilities throughout California, and this is true in Bakersfield, of which I've gone to all 7 of those buildings, they're 40-plus years old. And so to handle the baby boomers, of which there are 1,100 each day in California turning 65 and 10,000 across the nation, we need to have more available beds for those patients. I think what's most important, if you look at the design of the facility, it will enhance the community. We work very hard. We don't have a lot of ambulances. We transport our patients. This is a short-term facility so that the patients that come in are usually only going to stay for a short period during their rehab process. So again, our philosophy is to honor more people, whether it be a therapist, whether it be a patient, a family member, or staff that's providing the care. And certainly we're here to provide more services for the aging elders. Do you have any questions for me? And thank you.
Not at this time, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? See no one, anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Again, please state your name.
I'm Jack Stewart. I'm the minister of the East Bakersfield Church of Christ, which is adjacent to this property on the east side. I want to say, first of all, that we are thankful that they're planning on building the facility there, the 59-bed facility. Look forward to having them as good neighbors and working together with them as they provide the physical needs. Maybe we can help provide the spiritual needs of the patients that are there. Our only question is regarding the elimination of the 6-foot block wall along the east property line. We would request that that block wall be built for the protection and privacy of their patients as well as for our own. As presently it stands, we have numerous individuals crossing our parking lot coming from Sonic and other facilities over there to the east of this property and using it as a shortcut to Target. Their access is easy across our property because we have a 6-foot block wall fence on the east side of our property, but the adjacent property is up about 5 feet. So they just take 1-foot step up and they're on the top of our fence. But if they see a 6-foot block wall fence on the other side of our property, then they'll be less likely to come across and use that as a shortcut. And so to keep down the foot traffic between and across their property going to Target and across our property, we recommend as the adjacent property owners that they be required to build a 6-foot block wall fence. Other than that, we're very happy with this development. You have any questions of me?
Not at this time.
Okay.
Anyone else wishing to speak in opposition? Okay, seeing no one, I'll now close the public hearing item and return it to the commission for comment, excuse me, and action. Anyone wants to take this? It's up to us, guys. Oh, sorry, hold on. Let's do a rebuttal period first. Let's try this. Forget it. We are going to do a rebuttal. You know what? Yeah, no, I know. Don't listen to me. We're going to do a rebuttal. So here's how it goes.
Okay.
If there are any Speakers, okay, here we go. I don't know how it goes. So we have a 5-minute rebuttal, and you're up. And will you start the clock? Thank you. That'll work. Close enough.
We understand their concerns, and we want to be good neighbors also. And we don't mind putting a fence up, but a 6-foot block wall is very expensive. Right now, there's a chain link fence along part of it, and we don't mind, we can extend that the full length, so that would keep people from cutting across if that was the concern. So we have no problem with doing that, but we'd prefer not to do the block wall the full length. That's all I have.
Okay, anyone else want to speak in this rebuttal period? No? Can we go on to the next? You've got 5 more minutes. Would you like to speak to what she just said?
Yes, the reason we're requesting a block wall fence is because a chain link fence is easy to scale and climb, a lot easier than a block wall fence. And a lot of the people coming across the property are young people, and they're very capable of scaling a chain link fence with no problem at all. But a 6-foot block wall fence would present more of a challenge for them. And so we respectfully request, because of that the 6-foot block wall fence be constructed.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to close. No, there's only one rebuttal period, sorry. Now we'll close the public hearing. Now we're going to come to these guys. And would any commissioner like to speak on this? No? Staff? No? Commissioner Tack? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess, is there a way we could see a picture of an elevation of this so that we can kind of get in the frame of mind that they're talking about? And I'm assuming it's from the, as Mr. Stewart had said, it was from the east. So,
I believe this is a street view aerial of the site. Okay. So it looks like we're on Bernard looking north.
okay.
So I'm thinking the block wall would be on the right side, my right, your,
That, yeah,
Right,
on
as
our
well.
right as well.
where the taller cypress trees are there. So just to give a little background for your commission, this is the zoning layout as it is now. Whenever there is something other than single-family zoning or development adjacent to residential development or zoning, we do have a block wall requirement. And that is to protect residential uses from commercial or industrial uses. This situation's a little different because that R1 site, though it is zoned R1, it's zoned R1CH and is developed with a church. So it's not your standard typical single-family use on that site. And with the PCD overlay zoning, your commission has the ability to waive requirements like the block wall as a part of the PCD process. And the applicant has requested to do that as a part of this process. And staff is recommending approval of that request based on the development of the site adjacent with the church and not a single-family house. And there doesn't appear to be a need for a solid block wall. But again, I would leave that to your commission to decide based on the testimony you've heard tonight.
Thank you very much. I guess my thoughts are, every now and then been in Texas and there's no fences. You go to all these neighborhood areas and they look like they're all mesh and meld together. But when you have, this isn't, I guess it's not technically a mixed use, but I mean the whole area, if you classify it as a mixed use, I guess, area with a pseudo R1 in there. I don't know. I think good fences make good neighbors sometimes, and I think the more opaque the fence in this case, probably a little bit better. I don't know. I think a block. I know they're expensive. But I think my humble opinion is it would look better with a block fence, and certainly not a chain link. Again, am I right? And there's going to be a chain link fence in there. Is that what I'm to assume, staff?
That is what they are proposing, yes.
Okay. I don't like chain link fences. I don't think they're effective, and I don't think it's the right idea. Those are my 2 cents, Madam Chair. Thank you for the time.
I would note your commission could make other suggestions such as vinyl fencing or other options somewhere in between.
Excellent, and thank you. And I want to hear from others, but those are my thoughts. So thank you.
Next up is Commissioner Strong.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. My question is, this is sort of a, topographically, this area is, I mean, the site goes kind of straight up, doesn't it? I mean, isn't it like on a 30-degree angle or whatever? And do we have any idea of what the landscaping is going to be on the borders, or any requirement for landscaping around the borders of the development?
Commissioner Strong, yes, is shown here. They have provided a full landscape concept plan, and it shows a generous amount of landscaping on all sides of the property. The applicant can probably elaborate further on the specific types of plants they intended to use if you wish to know that, but I think this represents what they intend pretty well.
Could it be possible if they wanted to put portions of block fencing and then portions of chain link fencing to kind of coordinate with their landscaping to create a border, a solid border between their property and the property to the west of them? Which would,
If that's something that your commission wanted to make a condition of the project, you
which
could.
perhaps would cut costs, because I know it's probably pretty challenging to build a block wall. I guess it's, how deep is that lot? Is it, what is it? It's 5 acres, so it's 400 feet deep? 600? So that's pretty, are those the kind of suggestions that we can make with the PCD overlay?
You could, if there was consensus among the whole commission that you wanted to do that. You would need to specify the layout if you're hoping to accomplish a portion of the site with a block wall versus a portion with other types of walls. You could do that.
What was the other suggestion that you had for us in terms of a vinyl fence?
Vinyl fencing is another option that we've seen becoming more popular in different developments around town, and that's the solid, usually 6-foot by 6-foot panels. You've probably seen them at hardware stores around town, and you can purchase those, array of colors. Sometimes that's a nice option that's in between a solid block wall and a chain link fence.
What is that in terms of cost effectiveness? What is that?
I don't have that information, Commissioner Strong.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Wade.
Thank you, Chair. The ideal situation is where the two sides compromise, and I think there probably is a middle ground that is neither excessively expensive, but also is private and doesn't look like it's just a transparent walkthrough where people people are incentivized to cross the church's property because they think they can just get through on the applicant's property. That being said, though, given that the applicant has met the requirements set forward by staff, I feel like we are micromanaging, and I would be okay voting yes as it is. However, like I said, the ideal is that you guys come to a compromise, also for the sake of the fact that you're going to be neighbors. I think it's in everyone's best interest. So, however, I also don't want to micromanage what is altogether a seemingly very good project.
Thank you, Commissioner Rudnick.
I also have experience with chain link fence, and it's not been a pleasant experience for the most part. People cut them, go over them, and it's fairly ineffective. And I've also been a developer, and I understand the costs of putting up block walls. I wonder if there's a compromise. Maybe there could be a block wall on 3/4 of the property. I know the property has kind of a hill towards the beginning, and maybe like where the front of the parking lot is, maybe you could run a block wall on that part. I don't know, Pastor, if this would work for you or not, but run the block wall from that part to the corner there. And I'm assuming those kids wouldn't cut across that first part. I see both sides of your issue, and I really can understand both of your concerns. I think there's probably a compromise to be coordinated between the two parties, and I do think if a fence is put up, it should be block wall, because I have property around where kids are, and they're pretty creative about getting through a fence. So my comment would be, yes, I am for a modification with the block wall, but I would like it to be done in a manner that is not as difficult for the current property owner and in correlation with the pastor and his needs of blocking his access or blocking the kids' access at that point, if that's possible. I know I'm kind of stating a big concern here, or big wish, I guess I should say. But I think if there's a compromise along those lines, I think that could be very acceptable.
Thank you. I'm going to jump in. Since everybody's talked, I'll jump in. I just built a fence. Oh, my goodness. I don't care what you put up, it costs money. I priced wood, I priced block, and I priced vinyl. And everyone's on the same page, I think, in trying to find a compromise. A mixed fence seems kind of odd to me. One thing that I am noticing within the PCD in that we do have a landscape plan, and the font is so tiny. I cannot tell, are those bushes or trees along that? So I'm going to ask the applicant to answer just a couple questions, if you don't mind. Is that okay? All right, we'll do it that way. I'm looking at your landscape plan. State your name, please.
Audrey Mills.
I think, okay. Audrey, are those trees or bushes?
The larger ones that are green and the pink and the yellow,
Black and white. Oh, here we
Oh.
go. Here we go. Thank you.
those are trees.
The green and the yellow.
Oh, the larger ones, the ones that you can see as larger than the little teeny ones.
The little teeny, so all
Teeny
the-
ones are the little
So the
bushes.
yellow, the pink, and the green are.
Commissioner Lomas, not to interrupt, but there is a map on the wall back there as well, if that helps. I don't know.
Okay, good. You've heard the consensus up here.
Yes.
Do you have a compromise you want to throw out?
We have no problem in working with the pastor to find a compromise. I need the architects to go back and look at what we can do there that makes sense. The vinyl fencing could be an option. Chain link is out, we got that, but maybe some sort of a wrought iron or a more decorative fence, but we'd be happy to work with the pastor to come up with a compromise.
Wonderful. Pastor, would you like to weigh in?
Yes, we have no problem with compromise. As long as it's a solid fence, we don't have any problem with that. Just something that the people that are going through can see. You know, it's going to be difficult to get on the other side, so that's what we're after.
Thank you. So staff, shall we continue, or, because it doesn't look like we can wrap this up.
I think that we've gotten a consensus among the parties, both parties, that something other than a block wall might be an option. So what we could do is we could put a condition that there shall be a solid material fence wall along the eastern property line, and then we could leave it to the private property owners to decide amongst themselves what that compromise should be.
What if they don't decide? What if they don't agree?
Well, it would be a solid material, so that would be all that the city would enforce, is that it has to be something that's not transparent or see-through, which would be chain link. So a solid material would be a wood fence, it could be a vinyl fence, it could be a block wall, it could be any of those things.
But if they don't agree, what recourse?
Ultimately, it would be the property owner's decision on what that solid material is. So what you would be doing tonight would be requiring that it be some sort of non-transparent material. And if the adjacent property owner is okay with that, that might be a good compromise.
Okay, we've got more information, we've got more lights. Commissioner Tack.
Thank you, and I think Commissioner Wade said it best. I don't want to, I think he said it best. I don't want to sit here and macromanage this thing. I personally want to leave it to I think we should condition it such that we leave it with, sounds like we could all compromise on that. But one of the other things that I wanted to bring up is that, hoorah, this is an undeveloped piece of ground that has, and it is an absolute wonderful piece of infill, and because we are publicly broadcast, here is another example of a piece of property taking from being a dust storm and a weed collection device and a raking job for the members of your church, I'm sure, and probably you paying for tractors to grade the property all the time. This is going to turn into something beautiful, and it's going to turn into something nice. So you sound like very reasonable people, and I think, I don't know, I'm going to leave it to a smarter person, which that's all to the left of me, to craft a conditional approval. Again, I say hoorah to a piece of infill that's going to get developed, and it's going to be something great. So anyway, with that, I say thank you.
And you're the last speaker, so if you would like to craft your motion.
I'm happy to read from this little script here, but are there any words that we shall insert, staff, on the fly, ma'am?
Yes, Commissioner Tack, you could make a motion to approve staff's recommendation with an amendment to condition B5 to add language to require that there be a solid, non-transparent wall along the eastern property line.
Okay. May we incorporate that into the record and use that, or do I need to read more?
That will be fine.
Okay, good. That is my motion as stated by our lovely council.
Wonderful. Commissioner Wade, do you want to second that?
Be happy to.
Thank you. It's a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Lomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Rudnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Strong,
Aye.
Commissioner Tack,
Yes.
Commissioner Wade,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. On to commissioner comments. That's agenda item 7. I don't have any staff. I've got no staff comments. You want one? You want a commissioner comment? All right.
Just real quick, want to thank the BPD officer in the back for being here tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thanks. I have nothing here for staff comments. Do we have any staff comments?
Just a quick reminder that today is the last day that you will have these handy-dandy paper black and white tiny print binders with you. We are fully transitioning to Novus as of the next Planning Commission hearing. You've been sent emails with the website access, and it is publicly accessed as well. So we're going digital. It's official. If you have any questions, feel free to contact staff, and we'll be happy to help walk you through the process.
Thank you. Yay, we saved a bunch of trees. Any other comments? Seeing none, we're adjourned. Thank you.